Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi, ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us Weekly, the show about shows exclusive to Disney Plus, where we talk about them episode by episode, week by week, for your enjoyment and ours. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Tennell, Griffey D-Pad, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing, the excellent Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing?
We're late.
We're late. We are back. Honestly, wasn't sure when we were ever going to record this because you and I have both been so busy, even though you've been back for a little bit. But
I technically haven't. So okay. We're going to break the fourth wall here. I flew to Vegas for a work trip last Monday. So the Monday before this episode aired. I flew back home on, technically I got home Saturday morning. It was like 12:15 in the morning. Immediately that following morning, got in the car, drove 4 hours to a friend's baby shower, spent the night and came back. So I've really only been home since for about, a day, 24 hours in the past week and a bit. So this is basically the earliest we could have gotten to this because I passed the fuck out last night.
I cannot blame you, man. You traveled a bunch. You did a bunch of stuff. But we're here today to finally talk about the audacity that Disney had to release the best episode of the show.
Why?
While we weren't around to record about it.
I had to watch this thing on my phone.
Welcome to my
glorious.
life. Welcome to me having to watch the first two episodes in an airport.
I binged all of Fallout on 2 flights, but we can talk about that off camera.
Yeah, you still need to watch Final Fantasy, by the way.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we got to do that. We're going to talk to Brad about coming on for that, right?
Yeah, that's our next episode.
Yeah, I'll find a way to watch it this
Next
week.
episode we're recording. Time's a weird thing. Anyways, yeah, this show is so good. We talk about it every week. We talk about how much we love it every week. This week we are talking about episode 5. Remember It.
Going to be hard to forget.
Full spoilers going forward if you haven't seen it. What the fuck are you doing? Go watch the show. Come right on back for it. Mitch, I should have known. I should have known that they were going to finish the E for Extinction storyline. But I thought, I didn't think anything of them going and hunting down Trask in the Sentinel graveyard. I didn't think anything of it. Didn't think anything of it. Totally forgot that Grant Morrison's story existed. Fuck.
Yeah. All right, that's the episode. Have a good one, everyone.
Yep, that's it. That honestly, if I could culminate my emotions in a single word, that's what it would be for this episode. It's just brutal. This show has proven that they're going to be significantly more adult than the original one was.
Yeah.
But this was a whole nother level I was not expecting.
Bo DeMaio, or DeMaio, I don't know how he pronounces his name, went so hard in writing this show, and seeing some of his reactions on X or Twitter. I should have just called it Twitter. I'm not going to change. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Especially after you fired at least 10% of your company today. Laid off. He said on Twitter that if you thought this was something, just wait for that 3-part finale. And Griffin, I don't know if I have the patience for it, but we should probably do all 3 of those as one episode.
I'm not sure I have the patience for it either.
Then let's just do it.
I think we're just going to keep doing it week by week and torturing ourselves every week. But
it's only going to get worse from here.
Yeah,
actually. We've got,
what?
This is episode 4, 5?
5. This is episode 5.
So we've only got 1 episode before that 3-part finale.
Yeah, which, God, what a fucking show.
Or 2? How many episodes?
Yeah, we have 2. We have Life, Death Part 2.
Yeah.
We have Bright Eyes. And then the 3-parter.
Then the 3-part finale.
Tolerance Extinction. That was the crazy thing going into this episode for me was I was very curious to see how this episode would turn out, considering that this was going to be the break between the 2 parts of the Storm and Forge story that we're currently getting with the adversary, demon, and whatnot. And I was like, okay, all right, great. So this is kind of what the rest of the X-Men are doing at the same time. Oh shit, people are dying.
They set up at the beginning the whole Genosha thing and mutants getting some representation on the world stage. And even there were some smaller moments in this episode where, while you fix your hair,
Yeah.
where I can't remember if it was, I think Gambit commented on the cost of apples or some fruit. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's just calling things as he sees them, and that's totally fair. But you've got this nation that's been struggling for years at this point to have some representation at the world stage. And because they don't have trade agreements with other nations, everything's going to be fucking expensive.
Yeah, it was so interesting seeing all of that, and like everything being so idealistic, but also so clearly built on this very, very broken foundation, right? Like that was always that's always kind of been the story of Genosha. Is it was idealistic. It could have worked if the foundation was sound. It just never was. The world was just never ready for it. That's always kind of been the story they've gone with until they eventually went to Krakoa, where they're like, I don't care if you're ready for this, we're doing this. Which is another great story.
Which is honestly where I think this season either ends up or where they start the story next year. Or next season, which
I don't know if they're going to do it that quite yet. Because they got to bring back Professor X for that, because he's such an important part.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough for them to say, hey, he got space healed and he's back.
You also have to establish Krakoa as a character.
That's also true. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Mm-hmm. I'm just excited to see more stories in this world, especially with them. We thought this was a kid's show. It was a sequel series to a kid's show. This is not a kid's show.
A kid's show. I feel like the meme of like the two guys in space, one with a gun looking down at Earth. Was it never a kid's show? It was never a kid's show.
Nope.
Yeah, it was the moment for me when I started to realize what was happening. Is like, okay, first off, seeing Kurt, and immediately I'm like, the tears are starting, realizing Kurt and Madeline are both here. Like, this is what Nightcrawler's been up to. Nightcrawler is eventually going to join the X-Men, hopefully. Like, seeing him in his element.
After the events of this episode, he will join the team formally.
Yeah. Seeing all of that, but also seeing all of these other characters that I recognize, like seeing Pixie or Dazzler or Blob, or not Blob, Glob, the weird, the mutant, the pink, gooey
the one eye sea skeleton.
Yeah.
Even just seeing the Morlocks back, seeing Leech after Magneto's
I love
Magneto's promise to him, and then in German, the "Don't be scared." I'm just like, this is not right.
Yeah, dude, it was
fuck.
It was so emotional, and I think a lot of the heart of the emotion in this one is Gambit at Rogue. This being a devastating episode, but also very much an episode about love, and both loving yourself and others, but also loving yourself. All of this stuff, craziness happening. We got a Jean Grey and Wolverine kiss in this episode, and no one's talking about it because that's not important compared to everything else.
We got a Madeline Pryor Cyclops kiss in this episode, evoking the scene between Emma Frost and Cyclops in the comics when Jean intervenes in their weird psychic, fuckery.
Dude, yeah, Madeline realizing Cable is Nathan.
Oh, that too. The eyes. You made it.
Heartbreaking. God, it's just the show in general is great, and I understand we're kind of talking about it in like fragmented pieces.
It's hard not to,
but it's genuinely just so overwhelmingly emotional of an episode. That's
Gambit, like at the end there.
His self-sacrifice.
The name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it.
Mm-hmm. Dude, we got like a couple of really great Gambit moments in this. First off, where just something that was dope was when he was riding the motorcycle and then charged up the motorcycle and threw it.
Yeah, that was
cool.
dope.
So cool.
Well, and even just like some of the foreshadowing or the callbacks that we got in this episode with that whole argument between Rogue and Gambit, just like, I just can't feel you. And she gets that with Magneto, and it's awful that it's happening the way it is because everyone ships Gambit and Rogue at all times.
Even Gambit and Rogue ship themselves at all times.
Exactly. But then that callback to that, the screen goes to black. I can't feel you. It just...
then the sad version of the theme starts to play.
It hurts so good.
Yeah. It's such an evil trope that I love so much is whenever you bring in the sad version of your theme song. Keep doing it. It's great. I love it. But yeah, everything with Gambit, like in watching like as he goes throughout this episode, the things he's charging subtly just get larger and larger and larger until it eventually being the master mold at the end of the episode. Everything about Gambit was so good. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't like Gambit for a litany of reasons in Gambit's history. If you don't like Gambit after this episode, I don't know what to tell you. He is just so damn good in this episode. Him and Rogue, like, everything going through Rogue's brain, like, I don't necessarily agree with her, but I see where she's coming from with the decisions that she's making. Of, like, no, I do love you, Gambit, but, like, I do have a possibility here to make the world better for mutants. That is our goal.
As a responsibility to their people, which I think is reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Plus all of, like, the political happenings within the UN of, like, the UN liaison being pissed that they decided to make Magneto their leader.
Which makes sense. That line that he has of most nations don't make terrorists their leader. Yes, but many leaders are terrorists. It's like, oh my God, that hits so good.
I need to re-find or just repurchase at this point my Magneto was right t-shirt.
You're not wrong.
Like,
neither was he.
No, neither was he. Yeah, everything about it. And also just seeing who was on the council was very interesting to me. The gut oh no I had when I saw Sebastian Shaw and Emma Frost was like, oh no. And then seeing everybody else, I'm like, okay, you were all good people. This is very reminiscent of the Quiet Council in current, or I guess the last X-Men run that's ending right now.
Yeah. Or even just the Illuminati in comics, mix of the good and the bad.
Well, no, like these are quite literally some of the characters that are in the Quiet Council of Krakoa. Yeah. Which, side note, while X-Men 97 is fantastic and amazing, you also keep an eye on Ultimate X-Men because that shit is awesome.
That shit hits for sure. The thing is, that wasn't the only cameo that had me gasp as I was watching this.
Oh, what hit for you?
Did you see what I saw?
The Watcher?
The Watcher.
Yeah, I did. So I did not see the Watcher on my first watch through.
Bruh.
It did. It was.
I almost jumped out of my hotel room, and that's hard to do when the windows are like sealed shut.
Mm-hmm. There's rumors that the Watcher's going to be showing up in Fantastic Four as well. By the way.
Oh man.
I cannot.
Well, because that one will be interesting to get to because I do think all of this. Even on the animation side, everything that was done with What If, everything that's happening here, everything that's happening with the multiverse saga, like I do feel like all of this is part of the larger MCU story, and there is going to be that ultimate moment, no pun intended, where the universes end, and Secret Wars is what it was in the comics the second time around, and then we get this new Marvel universe. Because I do think it's a way that they can bring back some of the fan favorite characters.
But I hope we have more stuff like this with X-Men 97 and I think this is very much proving a point where it's like, this is Marvel Studios. Please do not get this misconstrued. This is Marvel Studios. This is the same studio behind the entirety of the MCU. Some people are saying like it's not. But I love that we're
Marvel
still
animation.
I love that we can have stories that are not directly tied to the MCU. And they can be established in the larger multiverse of everything. But like this is a self-contained thing, and it seems like we're gonna get some wild crossover shit happening soon. I don't know if you watched the War commercial or War trailer they put out.
No,
there's a massive Easter egg at the end of it, of a certain character that is going to be popping up. That is not an X-Men. I'm not gonna spoil it. Unless you're bringing up the trailer.
I'm just going to go Google this trailer while you keep talking.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go from here. Cassandra Cain was supposed to be the main villain for this season, right? That was what they announced.
I thought it was Madeline Pryor.
Or was it Madeline Pryor?
That was anything I got from like the initial media or the initial advertising for it. That was the assumption I had, but I do feel like it's going to be a mix of like Sinister doing things with Trask being. I don't even know at this point.
See, I'm not sure
it's going to get wild.
So they have this comic that they're putting out right now, the X-Men 97 comic. Okay. Yep, there it is. There it is. Mitch
What
saw the
the
thing. Mitch saw the shield. Mitch saw the shield.
Yo! Okay, I'll stop now.
You have the audacity to wear that sweatshirt while freaking out about Captain America. How dare you? I'm kidding.
Nothing wrong with Captain Canada. Captain Canuck.
Captain Canuck. There's a lot of things wrong with Captain Canuck. Captain Canuck is a bad character, but it's
Yeah, I know.
no. Yeah, it looks like we're getting Cap in one of these episodes. Probably Tolerance's Extinction.
Probably something to do with Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Given their history.
Or maybe something with the American government, with the way things are going.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know who the main villain of this season is anymore. I don't know if it's Trask. I don't know if it's Madeline. I don't think it's Sinister. Sinister kind of being the main villain of the comic tie-in that they have. That's like tying in the old show with the new show.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone is pulling the strings behind Trask, given what just happened in this episode. That is ultimately who the villain is going to be, and they've been very good about not revealing that. I don't even want to speculate at this point. I'm just along for the ride. I am 1,000% in. I'm so ready for all of this.
They could literally do anything with these next 5 episodes.
It could be goddamn Bobby Drake for all I care. Just give me a reason for it to be.
Like, I trust them implicitly at this point. Yeah. Like, they can do whatever they want. And I think that's pretty rare to see, especially with Marvel stuff lately. Like, you can do whatever you want, and I will be happy with it, because it's done so good so far. That said, next week, Mitch, we're getting the wrapping of the Storm storyline.
Oh, wrapping is loose. I do feel like we're going to get some resolution.
Okay.
But I do think...
We're getting the end of Light Death.
Yes, I do think a lot of what's happening with the Storm and Forge stuff is to set her up to be not as powerful as she was coming into this show, because she's super OP in the comics. That's part of the reason that the depowered Storm storyline happens in the comics, to kind of level the playing field. And I do think we're going to get some of that here. So it'll be interesting to see how she rejoins the team and in what capacity, and what this ultimately means for the final quote unquote showdown with whoever's pulling the strings behind Trask.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how they tie it in, if they tie it in at all to the events of Remember It. Like, I do feel like they'd have to. But I imagine that's what's going to bring her back to the X-Men.
Yeah, I get a sense that these two stories are happening in parallel, and that episode will end with a news report. Like, it'll basically parallel what we saw at the end here, with them sitting around the TV at the X Mansion and seeing what's going on, and just the utter dread on everyone's face.
So
and
we know
think
that
her and Forge will...
It is presumed, because they're in the same episode at the same time, that this happens at the same time as the events of Motendo. And Motendo is happening right before Remember It.
Yeah. So I fully expect that, the end of this will tie, or the end of the next one will tie into the events here, bring everyone back together for what will ultimately be whatever's going on with the Trask situation.
I cannot wait, but that is unfortunately, Mitch, in the future.
Boo.
I know, I don't want to wait.
Thankfully, we recorded this late, so we only have to wait 2 days.
Right? I mean, we've already been waiting for 5 other days, but
I've been pretty busy. I've been distracted.
Yeah, but it's still in the back of my mind at all points because of how good that episode was. But obviously, that's all the future. We'll talk about it then. I guess I'll do the proper rigmarole.
At D plus us, wherever you can find us, is where you find us. If you want to talk all things X-Men, if you want to come on an episode, like we've got a guest coming on to talk about a terrible Final Fantasy movie at some point, probably.
Oh, I cannot wait.
That I have to watch maybe tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, you should really watch the movie so we can record the actual episode. But yeah, go ahead and check that stuff out. Go check out the episodes of our main show. Our most recent episodes being about the original X-Men animated series, as well as an episode all about a man by the name of Nelson Peltz, who recently tried to get onto the Disney board and massively failed.
Failed in spectacular fashion.
I think we've also got, because that was last week. That was
last week. So we've got the one coming out.
If you're listening, Mexico Wins is our next episode.
That's the one.
And that should be going out tomorrow if you're listening to this today, or it should be out now. So
it should be out. Yeah.
Go ahead and listen to that. Check out all of our stuff on YouTube, TikTok, all the other places. We will see y'all in the next episode. But until then, have a magical day.
Excelsior.